Alrighty, it's about that time again. So I noticed that there was a startling shortage of Classic Plus videos on the internet today, and I decided that I would rectify things with another one here for you. The focus of this one's going to be my manifesto, my thesis, on why I think most signs are pointing towards an announcement at this year's BlizzCon, which is occurring in September. But to be serious, I did do a search for something along these lines, and I couldn't find anything as autistic as what I'm about to provide for you. So it might actually have some new information that you maybe haven't considered, or at least information that, when it's all put together, tells an interesting story. Before we get into it, though, I would like to take a moment to thank the sponsor of this video, War Thunder. War Thunder is one of the most complete vehicle combat games ever made, and it's available right.
I like that Mad Season doesn't change his tone at all about the sponsor. He's got one tone and one tone only. That's a straight up Mad Season video right there, boys.
It's available for a limited time, so check it out today. Anyways, so Classic Plus, it is quite the enigma. Most everyone knows what it is, and yet still, no one can agree on what it is, or when it'll be out. Will it be good or bad? It's probably one of the most defined, undefinable products in the history of gaming, but I'll try my best to compile all of the most common things that you see about it. So Classic Plus is mostly generalized with the idea of the original base game, vanilla, after its final 1.12 patch, instead of going through the Dark Portal like in the Burning Crusade expansion and similar ones after it. The game instead continues on in the old world, in the Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor.
Bro, do any RuneScape players in the lair get excited about the thought of the classic WoW universe expanding? When you guys see video shots like this of people running around the world,
the spirit and design,
the old world, does that fire anybody up? Oh yeah, nope, a little yes. Dude, it kind of just fires me up. The music in WoW and the trailers in Classic, bro, they're just too good, man. It's actually, they're so OP. The WoW trailers and just the world and the lore. WoW is actually just too good, man. It's OP. It just makes me want to play.
Of the game with new raids, dungeons, class balance changes, zones, and even things such as new classes, specializations, professions, and other similar features in line with classic MMORPG game design. So as you probably know, when Classic 2019 Vanilla ended in 2021, Blizzard instead opted for the safer route of just going down the list of expansions released in their original chronological order, with similar phasing schedules to roughly match their releases. And as of today, they've reached all the way to the Mists of Pandaria expansion, and that's all well and good, but considering that for many people the end of the classic version of the game ended in Cataclysm, it's left quite a big discrepancy with what these players want and what Blizzard is providing, with many even turning to the independently run private servers to fill in that void, as was evidenced with the almost overwhelming popularity of the Turtle WoW server, which just recently announced its shutdown after a legal battle with Blizzard. Blizzard has flirted with the idea of Classic Plus, with the closest to being their seasonal servers. First you had this Season of Mastery, which made various raid balance changes to increase the overall difficulty of the PvE portion of the game, which a certain amount of the player base were disappointed with in the 2019 run. Following that, there's the more intense Season of Discovery, which held quite a few changes, but the most notable being the rune system, which changed the class balance and their functionality in quite drastic ways. There were some other things such as progressive level caps, and near the end some pretty popular requests within the realm of Classic Plus, such as a new Scarlet Monastery raid, as well as a questline for the legendary Ashbringer. Overall, it was kind of a mixed bag, and people were pretty split on it, with some people loving it and some people really disliking it. So there's been a large demand for it for quite a few years now, and certainly a lot of frustration, especially with Blizzard not providing it, and also now shutting down the actual Classic Plus Turtle WoW. If you look in the comments of this video, most likely people are not going to have a very fond opinion of Blizzard, but whatever you think of them, the point of this video is to just give you the information of why I think there's a 99% chance that it's probably going to be announced at BlizzCon, at least in some capacity. So starting here first with some older information, and that's the survey. Several months ago, Blizzard started sending out surveys.
I don't know. I'm less confident in Classic Plus. Well, I know that they're announcing it for sure. I just know that they are, but at least I think that they are, but I hope that they are. But I think we all know that they are, right? And what I thought was that Classic Plus was going to come out at the end of the year, but SFan and Czar and them, they said that they didn't play test anything, which means they just brought them there to talk to them and ask them questions. So it hints at Classic Plus might still be in like the heavy development phase, or like, I don't know, beta, even though the game already exists. It might not even be in a playable beta yet, which is what I'm more concerned with, is not like if it's coming out, but when it's coming out, because if it's 2 or 3 years away, that's very bad. I'm hoping that it comes out at the end of TBC, which is in like December or January. That's the main thing that I'm worried about, is like if Classic Plus comes out too late.
There's 2 players, which requested for them to not share them publicly, but because it's the internet, of course, that's the first thing they did. It held a variety of questions, many of them relating to typical features and elements related to Classic Plus. This is something that we didn't actually cover previously, but what makes it relevant to this video is that despite its age, none of these features have been seen in any version of Classic, despite it having like 5 different versions at this point. So all of the information that they've gotten from this survey has yet to be utilized in any public way. So maybe they're just doing nothing with it, or maybe they're using it to guide them with this currently theoretical Classic Plus. Next, we have the 2025 Blizzard Yearbook, which details some milestones for the various games. In this yearbook is, of course, a section about Classic, which reads, Season of Discovery wound down with a bang in the Scarlet Enclave. This was the Scarlet Crusade raid I mentioned, as we got cooking on the long-term future of World of Warcraft Classic, eyes emoji, and just below that are a series of plus signs.
See, guys, they keep on dropping hints like this all the time. These little eye emojis. The future of WoW Classic, like, they've done this 4 or 5 times now, where they're dropping hints that Classic is getting something, right? And we all know it's Classic Plus, whether or not they call it that, or if they do, that is on them. But we all know that it's coming because they've dropped so many hints at it, right?
Now, if you're in the Elder Scrolls trailer analysis community,
thank you, Typefail.
This alone is probably at least a 4-hour video. But due to the large Classic Plus-sized elephant in the room, and this following a snippet about the Season of Discovery, which is Blizzard's closest thing to Classic Plus so far, many people see this as a tease for an official Classic Plus, which I think is reasonable. Throughout the development and run of Season of Discovery, if you notice, the developer said many times that the whole thing was an experiment, and they wanted to see what worked and what didn't work. Quoting the team directly in this blue post, we have, Season of Discovery was always meant to be an ephemeral seasonal experience, and while it became so much more for a time, we're extremely excited about the things we're working on for the future. So, the thought process here being that the reason for an experiment is to gain information for a bigger project. So I take this as the Season of Discovery, especially due to its eventual end date, was just this testing ground for a more solid foundation for presumably an unending Classic Plus version of the game. Assuming that this is true, this could even give you a rough idea of what their version of Classic Plus could be based on the feedback of Season of Discovery. You know, what did players generally like and dislike about the season? That itself is up for debate and would set this video way off focus, so I'll just leave that for you to argue about in the comments. Next up, we have the 2026 State of Azeroth. This is a new thing they're doing, I guess. It's kind of like a mini preview of what's coming up in the year for all forms of World of Warcraft, Classic included. And while it's
like the Winter Summit for
more focused
RuneScape.
around housing in retail WoW, how they're adding a 7th form of monetization to the game. Yes, I counted. They did also have this weird mention / tease of Classic that's Well, I mean, I'll just play it here for you.
And that's not all we're cooking up. I can say with confidence that all Classic players across the globe have a lot to look forward to. I'm really excited to announce that... I guess we'll save that for later.
Did you get that? We'll play it again.
I'm really excited to announce that...
One more time.
I'm really excited to announce that...
Yeah, I have no fucking idea. It's Holly something. But yeah, this was the big tease. So, a rational person would say they wouldn't blue ball the players unless it's something really big, right? And obviously the biggest thing that they could do is Classic Plus, without a doubt. But hold on. This is...
Yeah, that announcement that Holly did where they interrupted her was like the third or fourth time they hinted at something coming after Classic, or like something else is coming to Classic WoW. So the hints have been popping off.
Blizzard Entertainment, who, aside from the Cosby Suite, are entirely out of touch with their player base. At this point, there's been quite a rich history of them hyping something up, and then it turns out to be a mobile Diablo game or some shit.
We'd also like to let you know that the forges here at Blizzard are burning hot, and we have multiple Diablo projects in the works.
3 weeks later.
The current plan is to be on mobile, both Android and iOS. We don't have any plans at the moment to do PC.
What?
Yep, that's me.
You guys don't have
You're
phones?
probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
Yeah, remember that shit? Oh, we got some big news for you Diablo fans. Fucking Netflix series that never saw the light of day and the raping of your childhood. So,
Combustion that give you the
this could
prime.
go either way. If Blizzard were normal, this could be taken as a clear tease for Classic Plus, but as we know, they're not normal. Next, we have the Agrand post.
Bro, it's going to be so bad if they don't announce Classic Plus.
His diminished involvement with the 2019 line of Classic, which again is in Pandaria, as well as Anniversary, which is now in the Burning Crusade with level boost.
Guys, the only reason that I bought a plane ticket and an Airbnb and a ticket to BlizzCon is so I can be there live when they announce Classic Plus. If I do all that and I go there and they don't announce this, I'm going to be so upset. I'm going to be upset at them. And they don't want that. Okay?
Boosts, and likely soon the WoW token. Told you so, by the way, just in case you forgot, because I definitely didn't. But in the same post, he announced his change from production to design, and that he's working on the future of Classic. But if that future isn't Anniversary or the 2019 line, what could it be? That leaves only a new project, and some people conclude that what new project could it be other than Classic Plus? And lastly, we have a repetition of history. Earlier we talked about the shutdown of Turtle WoW, a popular private server dedicated to Classic Plus content. It's overall been very highly received, and because of that it became quite popular, and because it became popular it pinged Blizzard's radar, leading to the lawsuit and upcoming shutdown. And I mention this because of two things. One, in the terms of the lawsuit, Blizzard wanted all the data and everything to do with the project. And two, we have a fairly similar situation to the Nostalria shutdown leading to Classic 2019. So this is just about 10 years ago now, but there was once a private server named Nostalrius that was just simply a vanilla private server. It was the old version of the game as closely as they could recreate it. And
I heard Nostalrius popped off, bro.
An independent group of
I never
people.
played that.
It was fairly stable. And combine that with the fact that Blizzard was still adamantly refusing that anybody actually wanted to play it, it became quite popular. And just like Turtle WoW, popular enough that they would become a threat to Blizzard's player base and IP. And so they sent a cease and desist, which they did end up complying to. However, they did also send an invitation to their offices in California.
So many people, man.
Where they had a chat relating to vanilla.
This must have been the day that Nostalrius was closing down and everyone was logged in. So the last second that the server got shut down. I'm guessing that this is what all this footage is from. Because there's never this many people gathered in the same place like this unless it's something big. And a server shutting down would be a good reason for everybody to do that. Yo, Jolt, thank you so much for the Prime. What's up, bro? That must have been really sad. Yeah, they're spamming Nostalrius like goodbye posts. We will remember Nostalrius. Yep.
World of Warcraft in some capacity. Then, in the next year's BlizzCon, in November of 2017, the announcement of Classic 2019 was made. That ran all the way until 2021, at which point they released level boosts, which is
you were there, Pancake?
Highly attractive and intelligent YouTube channel named Mad Season Show predicted the later release of the WoW token, which a portion of the player base adamantly refuted, and that Blizzard would never do such a thing in a million years, at which point the WoW token was later released, and then all of these people disappeared into the fucking bush like Homer J. Simpson. But the point here obviously being that there has been a precedent of Blizzard shutting down a popular private server shortly before announcing their own similar server. So, Nostalrius shut down in 2016, 2017, the Classic announcement, which could precede the Turtle shutdown in 2026, followed with the Classic Plus announcement. Regarding the data, I personally don't know about this one, but some people believe it, so I still wanted to at least mention it. But some people think because Blizzard is getting all of the data of the various features of Turtle WoW, that they're just going to copy-paste it.
Yeah.
I don't believe this for two reasons. One,
I hope they take inspiration from Turtle WoW. I never got a chance to play it myself, but whenever I looked at the website, I looked at a lot of the features. Turtle WoW is actually giving you the option to play with like new graphics or the old graphics, and I think that would be huge for the game. To be able to play with, if you have a good computer and you want to play with, see the old world and maybe like a HD 117 or a GPU. And if you want to upgrade your graphics, like you can flick a switch and you have that option. And then along with, several class changes and then expanding the world and adding new level up zones and things like that, new raids, new armor sets. Those are all really good things that Turtle WoW is doing.
First being, I highly doubt it would be that simple. As far as I understand, Turtle WoW's foundation was 1.12 Vanilla WoW, which was the old client that Blizzard has said in the past that they can't go back to because it has all of these old security vulnerabilities and other various exploits. And number two, I think, is that they're
is a new zone.
Just pretty set on doing their own thing. It would kind of be a blow to their ego to just copy-paste a private server. So,
a Shara rework would be huge
in that regard. But I still wanted to mention it because some people have brought it up. So we have Classic Plus surveys, Season of Discovery experiment, the yearbook tease, the 2026 State of Azeroth weird tease thing, cryptic developer blogs, private server, precedents. Of course, there's nothing rock solid yet, but I do believe that there is enough information all pointing towards one thing. To me, the most convincing sign is the eyes emoji with the plus signs. I highly doubt that's coincidental. So I personally would be pretty surprised if they didn't announce it at this year's BlizzCon, especially since they teased it so much in various different ways. Unless, they're maybe going to do another Netflix series that will never materialize, or a mobile version of Classic that's monetized in borderline illegal ways, which would still be entertaining, so it's a win-win in my book. So this all just leaves one question. Will it be good? Is it going to be Classic Plus?
I think there's two questions. Will it be good, and when is it coming out? Those are the two questions. Because people are going to be way less hype if it's coming out in 2028. I'll tell you that.
Or Turtle Minus, as my friend Clubs likes to put it. Again, if you scroll down, you'll probably find the general sentiment in the comments. People, for some inexplicable, totally unreasonable reason, have lost faith in Blizzard. I'm not really sure why. I think that they're personally doing a bang-up job. I mean, just look at the impeccable quality of content they've been putting out.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
Maybe if they add an 8th form of monetization, they could surpass the One Punch Man levels of animation. The unalienable fact is that it has the potential to be good, which was shown quite well with Turtle WoW, of course. So that leaves the actual question of, is Blizzard able to realize that?
Bro, Turtle Minus is such a funny ass name for Classic Plus. Might just start calling it that, guys. That is crazy.
That potential, which we'll have to see. I do think that it will be pretty heavily monetized. I don't really think there's any way of getting around that. It's just kind of the culture of the company now. Jeff Kaplan actually came out and spilled the tea with a lot of the background shenanigans that went on with Blizzard at the time of his departure. Surely you know him. This is Mr. Tiggle Biddies himself, longtime World of Warcraft developer and the father of Overwatch. Overwatch was pretty much his baby, and he shared a story recently of their CFO, their chief financial officer, bringing him into his office and saying, okay, you need to hit these profit margins or people are going to be fired, and it's going to be your fault that they're going to be fired.
For me, like what sort of ultimately broke me in my Blizzard career was I got called in the CFO's office, and he sits me down and he says, he gives me a date, which at the time was 2020 and was going to slip to 2021, but at the time it was 2020. And he said, Overwatch has to make in 2020. And then every year after that, it needs a recurring revenue. And then he says to me, if it doesn't do dollars, we're going to lay off 1,000 people, and that's going to be on you. And that was just the biggest fuck you moment I had in my career. It felt surreal to be in that condition. And as somebody who's worked on a lot of games, made a lot of games, you get in these meetings where they're like, Fortnite has 1,400 people working on it. If you just hire 1,400 people and make it free to play, we'll make that money, right? And that was, I had believed I would never work anyplace but Blizzard. I loved it. It was a part of who I was. And I felt I was a part of it. And I literally thought I would retire from the place. I never thought the day would come.
That particular CFO is no longer working at Blizzard, but
yeah, he gone.
I do believe that this is sort of what lies at the core of the company today. It's just this sort of brutal corporate atmosphere that really stifles any sort of creative integrity.
Hey, you!
That was a good clip to show like why people don't believe in Blizzard anymore, is because Blizzard was, you know, like the original game, classic WoW and like Warcraft 3, it was actually made very similar to RuneScape. Like a few guys in a room that are like, let's make a cool game that we love. And they did. They made one of the most badass games ever, Warcraft 3, which that set the universe and the tone for World of Warcraft, which became the greatest MMO ever. And that's the game that I grew up playing and loving, right? Because it had so much passion into it. It was the guys that actually wanted to make the game that they wanted to play. And nowadays, this is the problem when you make too much money. A lot of times when you make this much money, then you have to hire a certain amount of people that now rely on you, and then you need to borrow money so that you can expand the game and make it bigger, and then you have to pay back those people that give you money. Now you have responsibility, and like millions of dollars of responsibility, or maybe hundreds of millions, which is super, super scary, right? And so then it gets tied up in this corporate structure. And now you don't have this passion project anymore. You have this corporation. And that original passion, you know, those three guys sitting there in a room that were coding the game, that wanted to make a good game that they thought was fun, is no longer the soul of the company anymore. The soul is gone. It's caught up in corporate interests, and it's profit driven. And this is why they say like the soul of Blizzard is gone now, because it's just too big of a company. And that sucks, because we all play the game and we want to play the game that those three guys in that room on those CRT monitors we're making. That's the game we want to play.
Stop bullying the multi-billion-dollar company.
So, along with the Classic Plus announcement, I am also expecting level boosts, WoW tokens, other similar forms of monetization. Probably not at launch, but most likely in the months following the launch, which I think is just something that you're going to have to accept if you want to play it, is my prediction. People have been asking if I'll play it. I don't know. I haven't actually played in over a year. Ever since I got into osrs, it's been more than enough for me, but I've kind of grown to accept that I wouldn't be able to resist the heroine unless it just looks really terrible. But yeah, we'll see. No promises either way. Thanks again to the sponsor of this video, War Thunder. Play for free today on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile by using my link in the description or pinned comment, and claim the massive bonus pack for multiple premium vehicles.
It's okay to be profit-driven.
And the exclusive vehicle decorator. But other than that, thanks for watching. Like the video if you liked it, because I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
That was a good video by Mad Season right there. They literally paid Metzen to come back. He said he regrets the war in Warcraft. I mentioned that to S-Fan one day, and he told me that they clipped that out of context. So unless you've watched that entire thing, I don't know. I don't know how deep that goes. I think that might just be a clip.